cloudy into 30, high temperature 87 degrees. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms are in the forecast tonight. Low temperature at 63. Tomorrow, turning a little.
Good morning and welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. I'm running like a chicken with my head cut off this morning. There were a few things that were unexpected that we're going to be doing this morning, giving away some Canaries tickets. They begin their playoffs at home tonight, so getting those lined up and ready to give away. So, plus. I've got to get into the news of the day here. So a lot of things going on. I'm glad you're along. Here we go.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense, no prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's wonderful to have you along this morning. And coming up this morning, be listening for your chance to win tickets to see the Canaries. Sioux Falls Canaries are playing Winnipeg in the first round of their playoffs. So it kicks off tonight at the Birdcage, and we've got tickets. We will have two chances for you this morning to win family 4-packs of tickets to see the Canaries. So we'll do that first time later this hour, and then we'll do it at about 7:35 also this morning. So listen, several chances to win this morning. Tickets as the Canaries will be playing Winnipeg in the first round of the playoffs, and we've got your chance to go to the game tonight, so be listening to win. So let's get into the big stories of the day. A federal judge ruled yesterday that Donald Trump may not request to move his hush money criminal case to federal court. The judge said that the Trump team had failed to show good cause, so the case will remain in New York State court. The judge said in a 4-page order that the Trump team had offered two reasons as to why the case should be moved. That New York courts were biased against him, and that his trial judge did not adequately review the issue of presidential immunity. And so now this U.S. district judge said those two reasons just fell short. He said district courts do not have jurisdiction to consider alleged bias against Trump in New York state courts, contending that's an issue for the state appellate courts to consider. And Trump's second argument on presidential immunity is the only one that deserves attention, he said. And he ruled that hush money paid to an adult film star is not related to a president's official acts. So the judge denying Donald Trump's move to try to move the New York trial to federal court. Also, Donald Trump has pled not guilty to Jack Smith's superseding indictment in the January 6th case that they're making against Donald Trump. This was a single-page court filing. And Trump, again, pled not guilty. And he said, I do hereby waive my right to be present at arraignment, and I authorize my attorneys to enter a plea of not guilty on my behalf to each and every count of the superseding indictment. I further state that I've received a copy of the indictment and reviewed it with my counsel. So Donald Trump pleading not guilty to the latest charges that Jack Smith bringing against Trump. Also, the U.S. Department of Justice has charged now several senior Hamas leaders over the October 7th terrorist attack. And Merrick Garland talked about this yesterday. And the complaint says that Hamas committed on October 7th, committed its most violent, large-scale terrorist attack to date, saying how Hamas, in the early morning hours, Hamas sent more than 2,000 armed fighters into farms and towns in southern Israel, where they carried out the massacres of over 1,000 people and the kidnappings of more than 200 others. So the complaint goes on. At least 43 American citizens were among those murdered, and at least 10 American citizens were taken hostage or remain unaccounted for. So now they're going after the, again, senior Hamas leaders. And this indictment was unsealed yesterday. And the murder of that U.S. Israeli hostage, Hirsch Goldberg Poland, his body was among those that was recovered then with 5 other hostages in Gaza. And his parents have been very outspoken, and as you might imagine and understand, I think. So the federal government now taking steps, the Justice Department taking steps. So this is the first criminal step by the Justice Department to hold people accountable for the attack in Israel. Also, Senator Josh Hawley saying that Secret Service personnel are woefully unprepared given inadequate training to properly protect, they call them candidates, the folks that the Secret Service is protecting. So among the candidates, of course, is Donald Trump. And so Hawley was on Jesse Waters' primetime last night talking about these whistleblower claims that when Homeland Security investigation agents were reassigned to work on the protective details, they were given a single 2-hour webinar on Microsoft Teams. So the videos were pre-recorded, and whistleblowers said the videos were riddled with technical mishaps. And Hawley, one whistleblower told Hawley, imagine 1,000 people logging on to Microsoft Teams at the same time after being informed at the last minute that everyone needed to log in individually. And I'm like, I know how these, I bet you've been in the middle of something like that at where it's your place of work, haven't you? Because I thought that's eerily familiar. Hawley said once it got rolling, the Secret Service instructor couldn't figure out how to get the audio working on the pre-recorded videos. All told, they restarted the videos approximately 6 times, and the content was not helpful. So the whistleblowers then say these 2-hour webinars have not been updated since the assassination attempt against Trump. Nothing new, nothing improved since the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Hawley said, this is a nightmare. The only reason we know about this stuff is because of whistleblowers. You got people within the Secret Service who are very distraught. And we've talked about this at length over, since this happened. So some of these agencies, the larger they get, the more problems that we see surface. Also, conservatives expect House Speaker Mike Johnson is going to embrace the proof of citizenship voting bill as part of the government funding extension. This is a story from thehill.com. And they write that such a move would not only grant a win to the House GOP's conservative wing, but it would tee up a showdown with the Democratic-controlled Senate and White House, which both object to the voting bill. proof of citizenship voting bill. Well, of course, Democrats object. Of course, they object to it. So I have watched this over the course of the last few days. This story, and Chip Roy has been very outspoken about it. Representative Chip Roy of Texas. So he said he has been in discussions with leadership, and he's advocating for this, and is very confident about it. He said Mike Johnson appears ready and willing to do it, and that's where we currently sit. So he said this yesterday during a podcast, the War Room podcast. And he said, when we get back next week, I believe that Mike Johnson will put on the floor a continuing resolution into 2025. He said, so the Freedom Caucus has been, they've taken the position then in support of attaching the SAVE Act. Again, it's SAVE, what it stands for, Safeguard American Voter Eligibility. And this is a bill that would require proof of citizenship to register to vote. And trying to get you some other reaction here. Roy said that Representative Clay Higgins is working with Speaker Johnson's office on the details. Representative Ralph Norman of South Carolina said he has not heard directly from the speaker, but he's hearing from very good sources that the SAVE Act will be included in a CR package. He said, we'll vote on that this coming week and get it to the Senate and let them do what they may. And he said he was very excited about it, said Representative Norman. Chip Roy said if Democrats are unwilling to fund government into March and their big hangup is the fact that they want non-citizens to vote, let them take that to the American people. They want to shut the government down over that? That should be on them, he said. Interesting. And he also said of this is a fight I can take to the people. And then you kind of play it out based on what President Trump and those want to do as we head into October about, where you land the plane. This was part of this. We talk about the stopgap version and so on, or the stopgap spending measure. So Chip Roy has been, every story I see regarding this the last few days has been driven by Chip Roy and his comments. So he is pushing this very, very hard. And it appears then that the speaker will take it out there. I saw a headline at worldtribune.com. Moment of truth. Will Republicans on the Hill take a stand to stop illegal voting? It's a great question. Will they? Chip Roy certainly is willing to do so, encouraging others, hoping the speaker will pick that up. Also, while we're talking about Representative Chip Roy, this is interesting. He made comments to Fox News on Special Report, and he said, my constituents want honest elections. They want a secure border. They don't really give two flying blanks about the government funding, he said. That's what he told Fox News Digital. That my constituents want honest elections, they want a secure border, and they don't really give two flying blanks about the government funding. And he wasn't saying he supported a shutdown. In fact, he demurred on that. But he told Fox News that the blame would be on Democrats rather than Republicans. And he said, I'm not going to play the shutdown game. The press wants to make it about a shutdown. Democrats want to make this about a shutdown. Our point is pretty simple. We're offering to fund the government, all manners of sin, by the way, in that government. We're willing to do that. But these guys need to make sure our elections are secure. If Democrats want to shut down the government, that's on them, Chip Roy said. Other stories. This is a survey that just really caught my attention, as I think many of us have been watching what's going on with, Jewish college students across the country and what's happening on our universities, and it's very distressing. So there's new polling data from Scott Rasmussen and the Rasmussen National Survey. A plurality supports Israel in their war against Hamas, while a majority also says that the National Guard should protect Jewish students if colleges do not take action when these students are threatened. So if colleges are not going to protect these students, then you've got a majority of people in this poll who are saying, yeah, they believe the National Guard should be called in to keep the peace on these college campuses. Pretty fascinating. So this was a survey. Again, this was the Scott Rasmussen National Survey. Show strong support for Jewish people and for Israel among American registered voters. And again, 65% say the National Guard should be called in if a college is unable or unwilling to protect Jewish students from anti-Semitism. That's a big number of people. And that's been an ongoing big issue, I think. There's another story that's out there. This is not nearly as, I think, as earth-shaking as what we've just been talking about, but the issue of kids at night and being unchaperoned at places has become really kind of a national issue. Unchaperoned kids at night. And Six Flags is the latest. Six Flags Great Adventure will no longer allow children 15 or younger into the park after 5 p.m. without an adult. So again, there are those and that I think parents, and I'm a little bit kind of dumbstruck by that parents just let their kids, go places like that into the evening. So beginning this Saturday, all guests who are not at least 16 years old must be accompanied by a chaperone who's at least 21 years old to be admitted into the park. And Six Flags released a statement saying, in response to the increasing incidence of unruly and inappropriate behavior across our industry and at other major entertainment venues, we are taking proactive steps to ensure a safe and enjoyable environment for everyone. So the policy will start by 5 p.m. And Six Flags said they reserve the right to start enforcing it even earlier in the day. So if they find out that you've got unruly, unchaperoned kids at any time of the day, they may enforce it. Now you're seeing there have been a number of these stories happening across the country. There's a mall in New Jersey that a few months ago cracking down on unchaperoned teens. The Deptford Mall reminding patrons that teenagers need to be chaperoned by adults on weekends. So the issue of unchaperoned teenagers in particular is becoming an issue, and you're seeing a growing number of entertainment venues, malls, whatever it may be, taking those steps to prevent unchaperoned teens from being there, especially whether it's on many malls. That's the policy on weekends. And now at Great Flags, or Six Flags rather, that will be the policy after 5 p.m. because of the growing number of problems that they've experienced. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks so much for letting me join you. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. All right, coming up here within the next 10 minutes, we'll give you a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see the Sioux Falls Canaries tonight. Canaries playing Winnipeg in the first round of the playoffs. We'll have your chance to win a family 4-pack coming up in minutes. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Weekend 6 to 9 p.m.
All right, thank you, my friend, for being here this morning. All right, we're afloat. Maybe not for long. We'll see.
Pharmacies all across America. Older Americans keep asking, where are the lower prices on prescription drugs?
Okay.
Kamala Harris keep taking credit for. First, Harris cast the deciding vote for the Inflation Reduction Act, promising to lower drug prices. Then the Biden-Harris administration used the money from Medicare to bankroll their liberal green agenda. That's right. Instead of savings, seniors got a 20% premium increase, restrictions on access to medicine, and fewer cures. Now, liberals want to expand this Biden-Harris scheme that is already hurting seniors. Thankfully, Senator John Thune has always fought to protect Medicare drug coverage. Call him at 202-224-3121. Urge him to keep fighting for affordable drug coverage by opposing S 1246. Paid for by Seniors for Better Care.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Not all policies will qualify. Not available in all states.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices. Just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Partly cloudy skies today for the Sioux Falls area. South winds 15 to 30, high temperature 87 degrees. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible tonight. Our low temperature 63. Tomorrow, turning a little cooler, back down to 78 for a high. The north wind will be in the 70s as we head toward Friday. From the Storm Center at Kibble TV, I'm meteorologist.
And in Sioux Falls at 629, fair skies and 63. Good morning, my friend. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. Coming up, Joe says the investigation continues into the latest potential fraud case against the state employee. Government Oversight Committee Government Oversight Committee member Linda Duba weighs in. Joe will have her reaction. Also, the South Dakota Department of Public Safety is conducting sobriety checkpoints in 17 counties across the state this month. Joe will have those details coming up for you here in moments. Also coming up, we're going to give you a chance, just minutes from now, to win a family of 4-pack of tickets to see the Sioux Falls Canaries tonight. The Canaries tonight will be playing Winnipeg in the first round of the playoffs. So the game starts tonight, 6:35. And we've got a family in fact, we've got several family 4-packs of tickets for you. So be listening for your chance to win coming up in minutes here at Kello. Look at the way I hit those posts. That's what when you hit the hard point there, where the news is beginning, that's hitting your post. All right.
Harris campaigns in New Hampshire and talks about the economy. Vice President Kamala Harris is pitching a big expansion of small business tax credits, proposing deductions for startup expenses increase from $5,000 to as much as $50,000. The tax plan is part of achieving a goal, her campaign says, of 25 million new small business applications in her first term. Fox's Jared Halpern, Ukraine's foreign minister and others resign in a government reshuffle. America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. A pre-evacuation alert has been issued as crews continue to battle the first thunder fire just a few miles southwest of Rapid City. As of last night, the fire has burned well over 170 acres and is 0% contained. No injuries or structure damage reported. No evacuation orders just yet, but Pennington County Sheriff is telling residents to be ready. The cause of the fire is under investigation. The South Dakota DCI continues its investigation into a potential fraud case involving a state employee in the Department of Revenue. Attorney General Marty Jackley says cases like this usually uncover additional crimes.
I characterize it as an ongoing investigation, and with our ongoing investigations, typically they do result in additional charges.
The legislature's Government Oversight and Audit Committee meets later this week. Committee member Linda Duba of Sioux Falls already has a list of questions on the subject.
When they found this the first time, what changes did they make the second time to find it again? And then the more important question is this new system and our new oversight procedures going to correct this going forward?
Officials say the employee was fired after an act of suspicious activity was discovered. This is the third time this year a South Dakota employee has been investigated for fraud. The South Dakota Department of Public Safety is conducting sobriety checkpoints in 17 counties across the state this month, Minnehaha and Lincoln counties included. Officials say the checkpoints are designed to encourage sober driving. DPS reminds everyone to never drink and drive. And the Sioux Falls Canaries are asking fans to pack the stadium as they play their only guaranteed 2024 playoff home game tonight against the Winnipeg Goldeyes. Canaries are offering discounts on food, drinks, beer, and merchandise throughout the game. First pitch is tonight at 6:35. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Partly cloudy skies in the forecast today. A south wind at 15 to 30. High temperature 87 degrees. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms are in the forecast tonight. Low temperature at 63. Tomorrow turning a little cooler with a north wind and our high at 78. We'll keep those 70s into Friday. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm meteorologist Brian Karstens.
The radio station you're listening to now is Kello. Our addresses are AM 1320, FM 105.1, and worldwide at Kello.com.
It's rumored that both the U.S. military and our intelligence agencies operate a fleet of tiny spy drones. They look a lot like dragonflies or other flying insects. No one notices them, but they're packed with powerful cams and eavesdropping electronics. Well, drone manufacturer DJI has unveiled a new drone that isn't quite as small, but it's enough to torment the daylights out of you. I'm Kim Commando for NetSuite. Download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning for free at netsuite.com/Kim. DJI's new 5-ounce Nero drone fits in the palm of your hand. Because it weighs less than 5 ounces, it doesn't need FAA registration, and neither will the operator. This drone is almost invisible when it's more than 50 feet away, but on board is a 4K high-res camera. The cost? Less than $250. Remember, if you're being tormented by one of these things, there's not a lot you can do legally. You can't shoot it down, and jamming anything in America is illegal. Sign up for my free newsletter at getkim.com. What does the future
Okay.
Ask 9 experts and you'll get 10 different answers. Rates rising or falling, inflation being up or down. Can someone please invent a crystal ball? Until then, over 38,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one fluid platform. With one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth, giving you the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. With real-time insights and forecasting, you're peering into the future with actionable data.
Sorry, we got a few minutes here before we get going again.
Less time looking backwards and more time on what's next. The inevitable holds many possibilities, and you don't want to miss out on that. And speaking of opportunity, you can now download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/Ken. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/Ken. netsuite.com/Ken.
Forgive me for not filling these spaces.
Saturday mornings at 9.
You know, I know you're sitting here watching me thumb through papers. That's what I love about the 4th hour, because when I host the 4th hour, I'm off the air and my concentration is purely on, on that show versus on the radio show. So I hope you'll join me this morning coming up at 9:30 for the 4th hour. I've got some unique things that we'll touch on that will be unique to that show. I'm not talking about them today on the radio show. So hope you'll be there. Are you ready to enjoy retirement your way? That's why I have recommended Washington Crossing for years. At Washington Crossing, you'll find a vibrant community designed to make your life easier and more fulfilling. They've got beautifully designed living spaces, a variety of daily activities, and meals that are prepared by the chef at Washington Crossing with great care. There is always something to look forward to at Washington Crossing. And if you need a little extra help, no problem. Washington Crossing offers support when you need it so that you can focus on what matters most. Discover the next chapter of your life at Washington Crossing. Call them today and schedule your free private tour. 605-271-9273 is their phone number. That's 605-271-9273. Washington Crossing, life made simple.
The economy, what's happening on Capitol Hill. Kello doesn't just bring you the news. We bring you the news that affects you.
All right, let's give away those Canaries tickets.
South Dakota and all across the country that put it all into perspective. Kello, News Talk 1320 107.9. Entertaining talk and news when it happens.
638. Fair skies and 63. Good morning and welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It is great to have you along. This hour is brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. All right, we promised to give you a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see the Sioux Falls Canaries. They will take on Winnipeg in the first round of the playoffs tonight. So the action starts out at the Birdcage tonight at 6:35. If you would like to go and take your family, be caller number 7, lucky number 7 right now at 605-336-1320. Call now, 605-336-1320, and best of luck to the Sioux Falls Canaries.
What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News.
Well, the Dow took a hit yesterday. The market sinking 600 points in what is a rough start to September. So it closed 600 points lower. The S&P 500 dropped 2%. So the Dow ending down 600 points. It was the worst day since early August. And this apparently after weak manufacturing reading. Also, Donald Trump has pled not guilty in the revised indictment that's been brought against him. The superseding indictment, Donald Trump has pled not guilty. And there's really not much more than that. He said, I waive my right to be present at arraignment, and I authorize my attorneys to enter a plea of not guilty on my behalf to each and every count of the superseding indictment. Also trending this morning, the United States has charged senior Hamas leaders over their involvement with the deaths of Americans during the October 7 attacks on Israel. And the criminal complaint said at least 43 American citizens were among those murdered, and at least 10 American citizens were taken hostage or remain unaccounted for, they said. 3 of the Hamas leaders who were indicted have already been killed, according to a DOJ official. The remaining 3 are at large. And Attorney General Merrick Garland said in a statement that the charges unsealed today are just one part of our effort to target every aspect of Hamas operations. These actions will not be our last, Garland said. Also, Israeli Defense Forces have killed the Hamas commander who murdered an Israeli father right in front of his children during the October 7th attacks. So he appeared, this is the, oh, this is really, the killer had appeared in video footage drinking a can of Coca-Cola from the fridge of their home. As right in after he had murdered their father right in front of his sons, and he sipped the Coke in front of the bleeding children before leaving the home. So Israel now saying that they have killed this Hamas commander who murdered this man right in front of his children. Also, students returning to Colombia, and already masked anti-Israel protesters are demonstrating at Columbia. So you've got students returning for the fall semester, and the protests are already starting. So they were demonstrating yesterday outside one of the entrances to Columbia University, chanting "Free Palestine," holding signs urging Columbia to divest from death. And you've got students there who are trying to attend their first day of classes. At least one protester was captured on video being arrested, while other demonstrators were observed pushing barricades, getting into a scuffle. Second then was taken into custody at Barnard College, which is across the street from Columbia. And the rest of this is the same nonsense you've heard a number of different times, and what the protesters are saying. You've heard it ad nauseum. I think we all have. Also trending this morning, House Speaker Mike Johnson may add proof of citizenship voting bill to the must-pass government funding plan, and Democrats, of course, are not happy with it. Punchbowl News has a piece in which Democrats reacting to it. PBS is saying non-citizen voting is extremely rare, yet Republicans are making it a major election concern. So it's extremely rare that we have non-citizens who are who would try to vote. So because it's rare, does that mean then that you shouldn't take it up? I mean, a lot of us will never commit murder either. Does that mean you never pass laws? Right? I mean, I just don't understand that. That's the media's reaction. Well, it happens so rarely. When have they ever met a law that they didn't like? I mean, give me a break. It's just too much for me. Also, a former aide to New York Governor Kathy Hochul. Have you been watching this? She's charged with acting as an agent for the Chinese government. So this is a former aide to New York Governor Kathy Hochul, charged with acting as an undisclosed agent of the Chinese government, say federal prosecutors. Linda Soon was arrested yesterday, is expected to be presented in court. I think this was late yesterday. Her husband's also facing criminal charges. While working in state government, she allegedly blocked representatives of the Taiwanese government from meeting with officials, allegedly sought to arrange for a high-level New York State official to visit China. This is a pretty damning indictment, and the things that are so. She was also not only an aide for Governor Kathy Hochul, but also Governor Andrew Cuomo. She was arrested with her husband yesterday. And the allegation, again, she was a foreign agent for China in exchange for millions of dollars in kickbacks and a number of fancy perks. So they are accused of laundering and splurging their gains on a $4 million mansion, a $2 million second home in Honolulu, luxury cars, like a 2024 Ferrari Roma. So she used her position under Hochul and Cuomo to turn the governor's office into a virtual mouthpiece for the People's Republic of China and Chinese Community Party. This is what the indictment is saying. The indictment says that Linda Soon received substantial economic and other benefits from representatives of the PRC, that's the People's Republic of China, from the PRC government and the CCP, including the facilitation of millions of dollars in transactions for the business activities of her husband. So it's ugly. It's a very ugly, troubling kind of indictment. Also, NBC now has issued a correction after Kristen Welker of Meet the Press. So here we go again. More untruths coming from Meet the Press. I know you hope Meet the Press was going to get better after Chuck Todd had left the program, and you may have thought, how could it get any worse than Chuck Todd? It was bad jazz, baby. And apparently nothing has changed under Kristen Welker of Meet the Press, because NBC says they've issued a correction. She claimed that Kamala Harris was at a transfer commemoration for 13 service members during an interview. This was with Senator Tom Cotton at the time. And she claimed then that Kamala Harris met these Gold Star families of troops that were killed in Afghanistan, except, yeah, she didn't. She didn't. Never did. Kamala Harris wasn't there. So Meet the Press now has issued a correction of this exchange between Welker and Senator Tom Cotton because Cotton was saying, you know who the families also invited? This is regarding Donald Trump, who was there, as you'll remember. Donald Trump was there. And Cotton is saying, you know who the families also invited? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Where were they? Joe Biden was sitting at a beach. Kamala Harris was sitting at her mansion in Washington, D.C. She was 4 miles away, 10 minutes. She could have gone to the cemetery and honored the sacrifice of these young men and women, but she hasn't. She never has spoken to them or taken a meeting with them. And Welker says, well, they did meet with them during the dignified transfer. They were with them at the dignified transfer, except they weren't. No. Incorrect. Not true. So Meet the Press is back to its usual Chuck Todd standards. Oh, boy. All right. Also trending this morning, Federal Appeals Court has upheld a ban on illegal immigrants possessing firearms. So this is the New Orleans-based 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said this week that the ban was still valid even after a U.S. Supreme Court ruling expanding gun rights by requiring firearms restrictions then to be in keeping with the nation's history and tradition. And this judge is upholding the ban then for illegal immigrants. Other stories trending this morning. There's news regarding Titanic, the wreckage of the Titanic, that there's been an expedition then to the site of the Titanic, and it reveals that a large part of the railing on the ship's bow has fallen off and fallen to the seafloor. And it's a very famous part. So what we're seeing is the deterioration of Titanic on the seafloor. And with this large railing falling and collapsing, new images are showing that. And as you read in a little bit more detail, there's some fascinating finds as well. So many are viewing that as bad news, that you're seeing the deterioration of the Titanic, but I think that's very much to be expected. Also, Toyota has recalled more than 43,000 hybrid SUVs because they have faulty tow hitch covers. So this is, I think, a number of recalls, not just Toyota, Ford, Toyota, Acura, among 141,000 vehicles that have been recalled. The Toyota alone recalling 43,000 hybrid SUVs because their tow hitch covers could fall off. Other stories trending this morning: Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu pushing back against criticism from President Joe Biden over the handling of Gaza and the hostages. And we talked about this. I had this story yesterday, but Benjamin Netanyahu saying that no one will preach to me. He made these comments. So he is refusing to budge on that ceasefire deal. Also, a top Trump campaign volunteer is out after suggesting that New Hampshire is unwinnable for the GOP. So this is according to reports, where you read it, a top Trump volunteer is, I don't know, I see the name, but doesn't mean anything to me. I don't think it would to you either. But so the Trump campaign letting the staffer go. The staffer saying New Hampshire's unwinnable, and apparently Donald Trump doesn't believe that. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. And I want to congratulate Megan Van Hofwegen of Colton. Megan won our tickets, that family 4-pack of tickets to tonight's Sioux Falls Canaries game. And Megan, thank you so much for listening. Hope you have a great time at the game tonight. Canaries will be playing Winnipeg in the first round of the playoffs. We will have another chance for you to win coming up at around 7:35. So at about 7:35 this morning, be listening for another chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see the Canaries in Winnipeg tonight. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Callow at 107.9.
I want to thank you so much for letting me join you this morning. It's very much appreciated. If you'll do me a favor and hit that like button, that would be terrific. I hope you'll join me at 9:30 for the 4th hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. We do that both on YouTube and on Facebook. You can watch it if you're a fan of the Greg Belfrage Show on Facebook. You can watch it there if it's more convenient. But I hope to see you at 9:30. I've got other stories that I've not shared on the radio show that I'll be talking about during the 4th hour. So I hope you're there. Otherwise, take care, my friends. See you again soon.
All those unwanted pounds quickly without spending thousands on painful injections.